I didn't get a descriptive summary for this one, but Ozark
Y'all
is
know
the
what
final
Ozarks is.
7 or 8 episodes of Ozark. All the stuff is hitting the fan. How does this show end? Jason, if you want to give a one sentence review of season 4, part 2 of Ozark, what would it be? That's a good one. The family that sell them things together, stay together. Is my one sentence review of Ozark.
About this life.
Oh man, where do we begin on this one? Look, I know last time we reviewed this,
Time
me
out.
and Jason both. Yeah.
Can we just go ahead and do a spoiler review on this? Because it's going to be
Yeah,
hard
let's
to
do it.
talk about this without being spoilerific.
Okay,
So,
well, we're gonna do spoilers.
Charles, since you're the only
5.
one watching, if you want to leave now, leave now.
We're gonna do spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we go to the spoiler review. Look, I know last time when we reviewed part 1, we talked about the stress and the trauma and anxiety that fills you with this show. I'm going to come here and tell you this. I didn't feel it as much for the end of this. I felt like it was less stressful, but and I'm gonna tell you why. And I remember because my wife was like, "Oh my god, it's just so good. You have to keep watching it." I'm like, I'm not really into this, and I'll tell you why. That once they kind of took out, again, we're in spoiler territory, so you know, blood cloak ears, so don't listen if you haven't seen it. Let you know. Once they killed Javi, it kind of took out like all the tension from me because he was a bloodthirsty a-hole killer.
It's a mad dog.
Navarro, really. Yeah. And Navarro was behind the cell. I felt like it was nobody that showed that, like, oh no, he could just be a loose cannon and just blast somebody at any moment. They tried to set up Javi's mother like that, but by the time they gave her a real turn, it was the last episode.
It was literally the last 5 minutes of the last episode.
Yeah, it really showed that she really about that life. So it felt like for me, like I never felt the tension that they had to make a move immediately because I never felt like anybody that could take them out had the ability to make the call to do it. Because at the time, Javier's, mother was playing nice. And she was like, no, let Marty talk about his family and what's going on. How are your kids? Like, she was playing nice. And Navarro was still Navarro, but it's hard to be intimidating when you're in an isolated cell with handcuffs. Like, it never felt like it ever got to a point for me where I was like, oh my God, like, how they going to get out of this now? Or how they going to figure this out? I always felt like, oh my God, like, what are you going to do? They got time. They'll figure it out. Like,
it just never, like they solved it. Yeah. Like in the beginning of the first episode, like, oh yeah, we're fine.
Yeah. And I even think they tried to put the menace of Wendy making questionable decisions that regress the overall cause, because it was like, how come we won't tell him that it's his sister that tried to kill him? Well, no, we got to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, why are you doing this right now, Wendy? Well, you could get him off the list, or you can, try to stop like your kid's situation. It's like, oh, I'm gonna handle my kid's situation. Like it almost became like you were trying to set up that Wendy's actions are becoming so diluted by her feeling like she's always right that she isn't focused on the main goal anymore. The problem with that is if you're going to do that, you got to make the payoff deadly. Like, I'm not saying you kill a kid, but I'm saying you got to kill a kid. You got to kill somebody off, like, because killing her wouldn't be the move that would make it felt. It would have to be her realizing the loss of someone else because of these decisions she's making, thinking that she could figure it all out, put her in danger. And you have to make that move something that Marty was with too. So it doesn't make Marty saints. It's like, oh, well, I told you not to do it. Like, you had to make it that something they were both down with, and it crapped out. And they end up losing something close to them. And the last part of it, I think that bothered me about the finale of this is that I know they were progressively deballing Marty. I felt like this whole last season, Marty was just in there.
He was neutered. He was just
in there. Yeah. And he kind of just admitted it. And I felt like that was a huge issue for me going into it. I don't know. I feel like for it being the last 7 episodes, they should have streamlined the story a lot more and went for the gusto on it. I felt like they had a lot of fat. Even Wendy's father coming back, that had fat on it. The private eye, I know they had to wrap up his situation, but again, how they resolved him should have wrapped it up. Right. But even how they resolved him before, the final resolve was like, You could have done it a lot earlier to kind of streamline it.
Y'all could have done that when he was snooping around the first time in the first few episodes.
Again, and I get why they tagged it out like that, because the ending is the payoff for the draw out of it. I don't know. It felt very and I know people are raving about it, so that's why I was like, maybe it's a me thing. I think I expected I don't expect grandeur for a closure, but I felt like it just, the best things about this show was always the tension and the decision making that either you agreed or didn't agree with. How can they keep figuring it out? How can they keep moving these pieces to keep organizing the board? And they never felt like I felt for the last season that those pieces should have been narrowing down to the point that they're almost like completely out of moves. Instead, I felt like they kept giving them just, this is how we solve this. We're out of it. Oh, well, this happens now. Okay, we're out of this. Oh, this happened. Oh, we're out of this. Where before, I always felt like with Marty and them, it was always something would come down. They'll make a decision. In result of that decision they made, a new threat would come through that they didn't foresee, and they had to keep rearranging. This one just felt like we had to check off the list of all the problems so that when this series wraps up, people don't feel like it was question marks. And that's what it felt like me. So I don't know. But I'm going to let you ride, because I don't know if you liked it, enjoyed it more or less than I did. So,
I mean, like, it's Ozarks. I enjoyed every single episode of it, but at the end of the day, I felt kind of disappointed. With the premise of this show was, how are these people going to get out of the situation they put themselves in? And at the end of the show, they don't. That's in. They don't. They just go along with it, and that's the end. It's like, y'all been going along with the whole entire show. Like, y'all just get more at it. Like, and I guess that's the most frustrating part about me, is just that there is no resolution to this. There is no end to it. They just are in it now, and that's the way it is. Great. Everybody else dies. And I guess for me, I guess you're right. It's like, for all the stuff, all this tension that the Bird's been having, you kind of feel like, in order for that tension to burst, or to actually mean something, one of them has to pay a price, right? And none of them do. Not one of them. And nothing happens. Like, everything happens to everybody fucking else. And maybe that's the whole point of the show, is like, even though they keep making these horrible and bloodthirsty and cutthroat decisions, like, the only damage is collateral and it's not there. But it's like, from the performances, from the way they're acting for the last 4 seasons, like, something is going to happen to them because they make a mistake or they do something. But no, like, everything works out for them. Even at the end, it's like, even though they have this bloodthirsty woman who they have to deal with now, it's like, oh no, I just want that bitch over there and not y'all. I don't give a fuck about y'all, even though y'all were there.
Right.
Like, so it's like, of all the endings to drug shows that we're probably gonna get into a little later, this one felt like the most deflated for me. Even like, I know, like, people like, for like Sopranos, right? That it ends like on a very weird note, right? But even with Sopranos, like, even though it ends so abruptly, it leaves you with your own impressions of what happens. Right? You have a mystery that what you take away from it is what you get, and it leaves open to interpretations. It's more that you can think about of that ending. This one, nope. This is the end. It's over. The show's over. Yeah. So I for me, like, even though I enjoyed the journey, it's just like, the payoff was not there. And that's probably the problem I have. It's just like, there was no payoff to this. They didn't escape the life. They didn't live, run off happily in the sunset. Their son ends up murdering a dude at the end.
Well, and even too, like, I feel like again, and I know I'm famous, and I know that's why I love to call out my own flaws and my logics about my complaints and what I like and dislike. Yes, as a flaw in my logics, I always go, if you just put a sentence in something, I'll accept that you did this, that maybe was a little irrational because you made a comment to it. And let's not forget, the uniting factor of this family was that they almost died in a car accident. Made everything forgivable because they almost saw that they could lose each other. And I get it. When they get home to the preacher, the preacher says, don't you understand? This keeps happening. Don't you blah, 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 blah. And Wendy's like, like, that moment is supposed to explain the car accident and why it united them. It was like, Peach like, dude, if God keeps giving you these chances, this may be the last one. Like, you got to understand, you just got a crazy car accident, and you all don't have a scratch. Like, you got to kind of. And Wendy's like, nah, that just shows us that we're going to get out of this alive and be fine. And Wendy was right, and it was like the uniting thing of that solved all your family grief was literally realizing that like we could lose each other. But like I said again, like someone should have took the L for a decision that was made. Even if the decision would have taken the L would have been one of those kids being tortured. I mean, the chick was almost 18. You could probably get away with torturing her and being like, this sucks.
I mean, like in other shows, right? Like in other shows, they don't shy away from some children getting killed. I mean, Breaking Bad, they killed like 4 kids in that shit.
right. And I'm not saying I'm a better writer than these people. Yeah. And I'm just saying that I just think that it has to be. Look, for instance, and I guess because we're in spoiler territory, we can make an argument that all through this series, the one person who made mistakes and learned from the mistakes the best was always Ruth.
Yeah.
And Ruth's final fatal mistake is what ended her whole run. The birds made mistakes every single moment of the day, and nothing ever made a consequence. Right. Never ended up like nothing ever came back to them. And I know it's like, well, that's because they're smart and there's so much. Yes, I get it. But if you never have a consequence or a dire restraint for your actions, where's the drama going to come from? Because a certain belief, like I said, this is why I think this season deflated me, is because I never felt like at any moment that any of the big bads, again, once Javi was off the board, nobody else in this show I felt like could do anything to them. Mm-mm. And it was just more or less seeing how they could get out the game. And I think that's why, if you notice in this season, they repeated it so much. Like, we're so much close to the end. We're almost out. We're almost like, I feel like they were trying to brainwash us to get ready for the ending of like, we're almost out. We're almost out. We're almost out. And then technically at the end, they do get out, but they get out in a way that puts them on top now. Because technically, their business with the cartel is done because old girl is in bed with Shaw.
Yeah.
So they technically don't have to touch that part of it anymore. What's the face? Because Ruth took the L. It either goes to Ruth's like cousin or the chick Rachel ends up inheriting it. So
3 is Marty like a teenager.
right. Which it means that either he inherits it and then the birds could push them around, or it reverts back to the birds. So they get the thing and they can keep laundering money. And even if they don't want to, the government gave them a pass for laundering money. They gave them a form, which I said I would have made like 20 million copies of that and put it in different areas. So if anything ever happened to me, they know that it wasn't me. But anyway, like they're legal. They got legal money laundering, so they won't ever get arrested for that anymore. And now she's going to be in this political journey. So like, no, they are out the game. And that's why I think he made a good point. Let me get one more last point. And I think that's why I made a good point for old boy to make a comment about like, who do you think you are? The Kennedys, the Rockefeller? Because you know what? All of those people's empire started from something illegal. And they became politicians or influential and never had to really, quote unquote, touch it again. And I think that was the main point of this. It was like, we just watched the Bird family become the next generation of the household politician. And we just got this appearance of this whole show
the
was
Koch
about.
brothers or the fucking
and that's why I think
whoever.
and when I saw the ending and I put that together in my mind, I think, and that is why this whole series, no character was likable. That's the one thing that Ozark has over any series, is that you really don't like any of the characters here.
I kind of like Marty. He tries.
But like that, like you don't like Marty like you like Walt.
No,
you don't like Marty like you like Tony. Like, and Tony was probably the most vile human being, racist, adulterer, blah, blah, but we still rooted for Tony. But that was the beauty of Ozark when I watched it, was that you didn't like the people that were involved. And I think watching this and it finally ended, it basically, if you wanted to say, this is called the American story, how do you go from this to being the president, your kid becoming a president? We just watched it unfold on Ozark. And I think that's a very weird thing to be like, yeah, because politicians are unlikable human beings as well. So, but anyway, that was my take on it, was that like,
poor 3. Like, he lost his entire family over this shit, and he didn't do shit. He was just there. He's gonna wake up and come out of his trailer and see his dead cousin sitting there. Like, well, I guess I'm the number 1 landowner in fucking all of the Ozarks now, or some shit.
Also, sad part, I know it's looking petty. I know they were like, oh, watch them, make sure they don't even make eye contact with the chick in the blonde. You couldn't have texted your kid, text somebody that works
Yeah.
there,
Text the
anything.
FBI. Yo, Rue needs somebody on her like right now. Like
just anybody to be like, hey, oh, sorry,
text,
my phone's ringing. Text like such and such security on the, because I'm pretty sure it's the same
text
staff.
3 to be like, be on the roof with the gun, bro.
Also, that part was dope. With Rachel. That part was really dope. That was dope too. Again, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the series, and this is not going to take me away from ranking the series very high on my list of these type of genre shows. But I just thought I was deflated for the last 8 episodes or 7 episodes. I didn't believe anybody was a threat.
This ending is not as egregious as Game of Thrones.
Oh, facts. Oh my god. Yeah. Forgot about Game of Thrones ending. Now I just feel icky. I gotta take a double shower tonight now. All right. You got anything else, or we want to go to the rating?
Poor Ruth, man. Oh man. But at least she can go in and start more stuff that she can have a better hairstyle.
Facts. Oh my god, Ruth Perm is burnt, y'all. It's been burnt the whole show. I thought when she finally started making some money, it was gonna kind of glam her up a bit. Man,
go get your hair did, girl. Come on.
That perm was burnt, bruh. All right, rating for Ozark season 4, part 2. What do you give it, Jason?
I'll give it a 4. It's still pretty good. It's still good. This, it just, instead of being so, I mean, I guess it's great because the ending wasn't so bad. It made me angry. It was just an ending. It just ended. So I guess that's fine. It's a 4. It's fine.
I'm gonna give it a 3, man. I wasn't feeling it as much, but it's still, like you said, it's still good. I don't know, man. I think I just wanted something stronger, but it is what it is. We have fun with it, and we're going to miss Marty and the Bird family. It is the end of the N-Word for Nerd podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, viewing, listening. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel, us at Twitter.
Thanks, Charles, for watching the whole entire time.
Yes. So, guys, thank you again. We really, really appreciate it. It's a pleasure having you on. Hopefully we'll grow this channel. You have individual cuts of some of the stuff we did on YouTube under Headcanon Circus. You can also find us under Facebook under Headcanon Circus. You can find us on Instagram under Headcanon Circus, and you can enjoy us and have fun with that. It sponsors Nerd Focus, In Your Face Art. And guys, remember, we got our book club coming May 21st, baby. We're reviewing Black Sands, Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the 7 Kingdoms. So please get your copy. Go and get it read. It's very quick and easy read. Will probably take you a couple of hours in one day to go through it all. And then, like I said, on May 21st, we're going to review those. Hopefully, we'll get somebody from the creative team to come on the show with us. If not, we're still going to have fun reviewing it. Again, our book club, we're going to start posting books. We're going to post the next set of books probably the week before May 21st, so everybody can get their copies of that as well. If you don't know, we're highlighting Black or people of color, because I want to sometimes may not just be African-American or African, but people of color, but majority Black and African-American authors and creators and artists. We're highlighting them in our book clubs because we think in the sci-fi and fantasy genre, we need more representation, or at least people to know that we have representation in these areas.
Yeah.
We need to make them bigger. I feel like we got so much plugs and so much stuff going on. We're just truly, truly blessed. Now we just need the stuff to turn around and be financially blessed, because Jason's broke. He got kids to feed. So.
I got kids to feed. I got like 6 kids, y'all. I need and all of them they need new J's and Air Force Ones. And they all want the Xbox Ones and shit. And
fresh white tees.
Yeah. So I gotta feed these kids, y'all. So I need y'all. Y'all can Venmo me if y'all want.
Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, we got a lot of great things coming on. Keep supporting us. Keep liking, following, sharing, getting it to other people, and then we can build this into a great thing.